Oh, hey, Mark. Were you here all night? Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning, boss.
Good morning.
And sorry for the early meeting. I have a feeling we might have a long day ahead of us.
Infra is a game where you play as a structural analyst. Its premise is simple. You are tasked with exploring and documenting the structural integrity of a seemingly abandoned dam. On its surface, Infra may seem like just another walking simulator. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Beneath its surface, there's a complex story and rich lore to be pieced together. Numerous secrets and Easter eggs to be found, and it would seem that perhaps something sinister lurks in the tunnels below Stalburg. So join me as we explore the world of Infra. You play as a man named Mark. You work as a structural analyst for National Consulting Group, or NCG. NCG has recently been given a maintenance deal for most of Stalberg's key infrastructure. Stalberg is the fictional city the game takes place in. The only other information we're given is that there has been some political corruption going on in the city, and that the company has accidentally ordered the demolition of the wrong building. More information on this will be revealed later. With this basic knowledge of our goals and the setting, we grab our gear and we head out. Upon arriving at Hammer Valley Dam, it's obvious that something is wrong. The place is a ghost town. It looks like it's been abandoned for decades. There's clear structural damage to both the general facility as well as the dam itself. There's flooding where flooding should not be, electrical issues that impede your progression, and much more serious structural failures. It's clear from the beginning this won't be a normal job. We learn the CEO of Hammer Valley Hydro is a man named Alex Hartman. We learn that the company went bankrupt, and Alex blames a man named Jeff Walter.
My name is Alex Hartman. I was just betrayed by the man who practically built this whole city. It started with Bergman, then Stallberg Steel, and now my company, all bankrupted by Jeff Walter. He bought the companies for next to nothing and then ran them straight into the ground. But that's the least of my problems. With the company out of business, there's no way we can keep everything in good repair. Things are breaking down all over the city, but no one's doing anything about it. The police, the mayor, and now it seems like even the governor's in his pocket. They care more about his money than what he's doing to this place. Whatever he's planning, it's going to happen. And I don't want to be here when it does. Because there's one thing I'm sure of. Everything's about to fall apart.
Moving on from the dam, we head towards the Bergman Tunnels. We traverse through a short cave system through a small mountain. When we exit, we find an old abandoned building with a mural of a raven. I think this has more significance than meets the eye. Inside one of the rooms, there's a dead body. I'm not sure whose body it is, but it's been here some time. This is the first real indicator that this game is not just a civil engineering simulator. Up until now, the only off-putting things we've encountered have been some notes and documents detailing the collapse of the company and the disappearance of some people, as well as the occasional creepy noise. This is when things start to get interesting. Moving on, we have made it. The Bergman Tunnels. Now that you have a vague idea of what this game is about, now that we've set the stage for further exploration, let's talk about what's really going on in this game. And more importantly, let's talk about what may or may not be lurking below Stalburg. Because of the complexity of the story and lore, there's no order to the topics I will be covering. However, I will try to start with the less obscure and finish with the more obscure. Be aware, I am not an expert in Infra's lore, and there are some questions we still don't have answers to. So if I get something wrong, or if you have any theories yourself, feel free to leave a comment. I'm going to give a very brief overview of some of the important parts of the story. If you want an extremely detailed overview, I'll link to some good videos in the description. Basically, during World War II, Stalburg was bombed to hell. Jeff Walter, a young entrepreneur at the time, essentially kept Stalburg up and running and rebuilt the destroyed parts of the city. Walter was eventually contacted by S&W, or Stalberg Nuclear Weapons. Walter agreed to help fund them, thinking it would help secure the safety of Stalburg if there were to be another war. However, he was deceived. S&W wanted complete control over Stalburg, and they would get it by using Walter's name and his company to purchase the most important companies keeping Stalburg afloat. It would then drive them into bankruptcy, and in the chaos, declare martial law. There's a few reasons they wanted this, which we will get into later. Throughout the game, you will encounter bright green, glowing mushrooms. These mushrooms are hallucinogenic, but also deadly. They seem to cause SMV, or Stallberg mushroom virus. SMV infects the body, eventually covering it with the mushrooms. They seem to transmit their effects through some type of airborne spores, because just getting near them hurts you. These mushrooms supposedly only grow in Stalburg, making them even more mysterious. It turns out S&W wants to use these mushrooms as a sort of bioweapon, but it doesn't seem to be the case that they made the mushrooms. More likely, they were discovered, as detailed in this document. Even more interesting, there are multiple different variations of the mushrooms: green, blue, red, and orange. The effects of all these mushrooms are relatively mysterious, but we have some answers. We know the green ones cause SMV. The blue ones appear to have some sort of healing properties. The red ones only appear at dead bodies, which have been consumed by SMV. And the orange ones are theorized to drive people insane. In my opinion, by far the most interesting ones are the blue kind. They are quite scarce in comparison to the green ones, and they seem to have some sort of connection with Ugu. Who is Ugu? This is Ugu. What is Ugu? I have no idea. He is referred to as the god of the underground, but other than that, I'm at a loss. The Raven Research Institute is an organization working directly against SNW, wanting to expose them as well as to stop the spread of SMV. They're very secretive with little information on them. At the end of the game, you will be contacted by them and will get a different message depending on how much corruption you exposed. Stalburg Underground is a mysterious cult. Again, there is little information on them, but they do seem to exist. They live in a supposed underground city and have been associated with the disappearance of a lot of people, most of whom were homeless. There is a secret ending where you get captured by them and executed via the machine. The machine is even more mysterious than the cult itself. It was created by somebody named Andrew Hertz for the goal of saving the poor people. But the only thing the machine seems to do is kill, and apparently spit out raven heads. On the machine itself is a graffiti of a headless raven, so this might actually be true. It has been referred to as an underground god, which conflicts with Ugu. As far as I can tell, its existence is only mentioned once and seen once. Here is the barely legible note describing it, and here is a cleaned up version that's easier to read. Morko is the Finnish word for boogeyman, so the name is fitting for this thing. He can be seen on rare occasion lurking in the tunnels below Stalburg. He is a dark entity wearing a white mask with blood dripping from its eyes and mouth. What it is exactly is unknown, but there are some theories. Morko could be a figment of the imagination and or a hallucinogenic effect of the green mushrooms you often encounter. But the mural of Morko might prove otherwise, as his presence is known by others who venture in the tunnels. He could be related to the machine and Andrew Hertz, perhaps one of the 7 masked men who supposedly safeguard the machine, or maybe he really is something supernatural. Like a lot of Infra's lore, there are no definitive answers. We can only speculate. But this is one of the reasons I love this universe. It's what makes it interesting. That's about all that I'm going to cover in this video. I'm planning on making a part 2, as I realize that I have missed a few things and left out some connections. And there's also a second game by the same developer called Open Sewer, which gives us a little bit more information on the world of Stalburg, which I will be playing and making a video on. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, feel free to show your support and drop a like or a sub. Everything is appreciated, and be on the lookout for future videos just like this one. Peace.